Module 4, Valves and Instrumentation, covers the following topics: placing valves, placing fittings and components, instrument balloons, and instrument lines. Let's look at placing valves. Under the main setting on our toolbox, there are some variables that can be set as far as valve flanges and valve tags. We can also select our chain system toggles to change these values. Show flanges as per spec, and those can be toggled off as per project needs. Let's take a look at adding some valves to our pump area. Zoom up on the pumps, go to our valve tab on our toolbox, and all of the valves are displayed. Before we place a valve, we should check our active settings to make sure that we have our spec, the pipe size, and the line number set accordingly. Once we're ready, we can then select our valve. We'll place a gate valve on the inlet line to the pump. Automatically breaks the pipe and inserts our component. We can get information at any time by going back to our Settings tab and selecting the Valve Info tool. This brings up a dialog box of all the valve information. So you can check as you go to make sure that you have the correct valve. So then we'll take a look at placing another valve for the second pump, and then we'll change our size for the outlet line. And then we can place a check valve. Ask for the direction, if it's okay. And then we can place one on the opposite line. And again, it's okay. Place another gate valve for a block valve, and we can just place these anywhere. Because these two valves would be flanged together, we can erase the pipe in between and use the AutoCAD stretch tool to stretch it so that we have no pipe in between. And here are the valves for the pumps on the inlet and outlet lines. Next topic is placing fittings and components. Let's look at adding some reducers and maybe some temporary suction strainers or conical strainers to our pumps. Underneath the Fittings tab, we'll see reducers, miscellaneous types of fittings, strainers. Let's place in a reducer. Pick the tool, pick the pipe, and it places the reducer, again allowing you to reverse the direction if required. We'll do another one on the opposite side. This one we do have to reverse, so we can click on Reverse. We'll repeat that for the other pump as well. And we'll reverse this one. And now our reducers for our pumps have been set. Let's add the conical strainers. And again, we can select the direction and say OK. At any time, we can remove components if they were placed wrong, rather than just using the Erase tool in AutoCAD, which leaves our two process lines. A better method is to use our Utility feature to remove a block. Select the Remove Block tool. Select the component to remove, and then select on either side of the component, and it repairs the process line. Place the component again, and it will re-break the line, and we can reverse. Our next topic is instrument balloons. So let's take a look at adding level gauges to both our vertical vessel and our reboiler. We'll start with our vertical vessel. We'll zoom in on the vertical vessel. Let's start first by placing a dashed line representing the normal liquid level, and this is just a guesstimation. We can then take a look at our instrument balloons. A full complement of balloons is available. Select the balloon, select the location, enter the text. This will be a level gauge. And let's add some utility lines to represent the bridle. We can use AutoCAD's mirror command to help in the drafting. We can even copy the loop and the line from one piece of equipment to the next, and then we can extend our lines for our bridle. I previously had placed a control loop complete with block valves, control valve, drain valve, and a bypass valve. We can then copy this balloon and then edit the text and call it the transmitter. Let's add the controller to this instrumentation. We can use our object snap tracking. This will be our controller, and to make it a shared display, we can add the box. We can then copy this instrument balloon down and then edit the text, and we can create this as our converter or transducer. To complete the instrumentation, we can go into our function identifiers, create a user function block, and then we can put in current to pressure. Lastly, back to our instrument balloons, one with a leader for our valve, and there are our instrument balloons. Our last topic of Module 4 is the instrument lines. On our toolbox, we select the Instrument Lines tab, and you'll see a different selection of line types for your instrumentation, from data link to capillary tubing to pneumatic line. Select the appropriate line type and place the component. You'll notice that it places the appropriate line type. We now need electrical line, and you can use one of two things depending on your standards. There's electrical symbol with 3 lines, but sometimes gets confusing or confused with the pneumatic line. So we can actually use a hidden line as an alternative, again, depending on project standards. This concludes the topics covered in Module 4. Please review Module 4 or select the next module.